Okay, so in this video, I'm going to teach you how to solve rational equations. And I have an example here in which it says 3 over x minus 5 minus 2 over x plus 2 is equal to 5 over x squared minus 3x minus 10. So since this is a rational equations, we have fractional expressions. To solve for rational equations, the idea is to get rid of the denominator first. And to get rid of the denominators, that means we have to find an expression that could cancel the x minus 5, the x plus 2, and the x squared minus 3x minus 10. Normally, for expressions like this, all you have to do is to consider the product of all the denominators, or by using what we call the LCD. Now, to find the LCD of rational expressions, especially if you have an expression that can be factored, is to perform factoring first to see what expressions or what expression really is needed for this or for a specific rational equation. Okay, so if you look at the given rational equation, we have x minus 5, that's unfactorable, and then you have x plus 2, also that's already its simplest form. But we have here on the right side, which is x squared minus 3x minus 10. Now this is a quadratic expression, so there is a chance that you can factor this expression, and if we check the factors, then that's an x and an x, and for the 10, that's a 5 and a 2, minus 5 and a plus 2. And as you can see, which is normal to, or common rather, to rational equations, is that the quadratic expression is actually the product of the other two linear expressions. So when we consider the LCD, that means the LCD here is x minus 5 times x plus 2, because x minus 5 and x plus 2 can cancel x minus 5 because you have a single x minus 5. The x minus 5 x plus 2 will also cancel x plus 2. And at the same time, it could cancel itself, so you can eliminate x squared minus 3x minus 10, because that's basically x minus 5 times x plus 2. So the next step now to solve this equation is to use that LCD. So once you found the LCD, so first you might want to write the equation again. So x minus 5 minus 2 over x plus 2 is equal to 5. That's a 5 over x squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay, so using the LCD, so we have to multiply both sides by that LCD. So just copy or write x minus 5 and x plus 2. On the other side, it's also x minus 5 times x plus 2. Okay, so when you multiply, so that means you are distributing, or you're going to distribute this LCD to every term in the equation. If we do that, so first focus on 3 over x minus 5. So when we multiply x minus 5 and x plus 2 to 3 over x minus 5, note that x minus 5 will cancel with x minus 5. So that will leave you 3 times this x plus 2. So that will be the new expression for the first term, 3 times x plus 2. Then when you proceed to the second term, so that means when you multiply this by x minus 5 and x plus 2, notice that x plus 2 will cancel with x plus 2. So that means you have minus 2. So this minus is still a minus sign. Minus, we have a minus here. Minus 2. So we have that 2. And then the remaining factor, x minus 5. Now on the other side, we have x minus 5 and x plus 2 to be multiplied to 5 over x squared minus 3x minus 10. Now take note that this x minus 5 and x plus 2 is equal to x squared minus 3x minus 10. So when we multiply it, that will cancel all the x squared minus 3x minus 10. So that will leave you just the 5 which is in the numerator. Okay, so once you have multiplied by the LCD, you will notice that the rational equation was reduced into a linear equation that is easier to solve. So just proceed by solving this equation, and that means you have to distribute the 3 and the minus 2, and then just compute or combine like terms. So 3 times x, so that's 3x, and then plus 6. This minus 2 is minus 2x, a minus 2 and a minus 5, that's multiplication, that's 10 is equal to 5. And then you have 3x and minus 2x as like terms. 3x minus 2x is x. 6 plus 10 is 16, and then equals 5. And then you have x is equal to 5 minus 16. 5 minus 16 is equal to negative 11. Okay, now since this is a rational equation, this is very common, or there is an instance rather, that when you compute for a value of x, when you have the value for x already, keep in mind that there are some restrictions in the given rational equation. That means x cannot be equal to 5, because if you place 5 here, the denominator becomes 0, and 0 in the denominator is not allowed. For x plus 2, negative 2 is not allowed. And for x squared minus 3x minus 10, from the factors x minus 5 and x plus 2, that's the same. 5 is not allowed and negative 2 is not allowed. Now, if for any reason that you get those numbers as a solution, then you should say there is no solution to the rational equation. But since we got x equals negative 11, that is not equal to 5, not equal to negative 2, then this is indeed a solution. Okay, so the final answer here is x is equal to negative 11. Now, some final notes. You can also check, this is an optional step, is what you can do is to check whether your answer is correct. But sometimes it will also take you some time to do that. But one way to be confident with your answer is that you place that number, which is in this case negative 11, in every x. And then, so that means 11 minus 5, 11, negative 11 minus 5, and then negative 11 plus 2. And then compute this value on the left side. Now do that same process on the other side. Change this to negative 11. Make sure you use a parenthesis when you square that. Then 3 times negative 11, and then minus 10. Compute the value of this other side. Now your answer will be correct, meaning to say that x is really equal to negative 11 when the final value here is equal to the final value here. If not, then that means you made some mistake in your solution. Okay, so it's an optional step. Okay, but if you think that you have done all the steps correctly, then that means you have found the answer to this rational equation. Okay, so again, always the case for rational equation is to use the LCD, and the LCD basically is the collection of the factors or the expressions in the denominator. Keep in mind that when there's a presence of a quadratic expression, you need to factor that first, because in most cases the factors of the quadratic expression is just the same as those linear expressions. Okay, so that's basically how to solve rational equations.